Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Town of Lexington Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. This board is comprised of town citizens. We are appointed by town council, and we serve without pay. We are a legal board operating under the Comprehensive Planning Act of the state of South Carolina, and although this meeting may not seem as formal as a hearing in court, all statements must still be true, factual, and not made in a manner to mislead us. Please understand that we make our decisions within the parameters of state law. State law requires us to grant a variance if and only if we find each of the following four statements are true. Number one, that there are an extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to a particular piece of property in question and because of its size, shape, or topography. Number two, these conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. Number three, because of these conditions, the application of the ordinance to a particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. Number four, the authorization of the variance will not be a substantial detriment to adjacent property or the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by granting the variance. Moreover, state law prohibits us from granting variance simply because the property could be used more profitably if the variance were granted. We are not concerned with the use of the property. Use of the property is determined by others. We ask you please confine your remarks to the issue at hand. Should we make a decision that you believe is incorrect, you may appeal your decision to the circuit court within certain time limits provided by state law. In cases that such appeal is made, it is important that the circuit court know who testified at this meeting. Please sign in on the sign-in sheet and identify yourself before speaking. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. December the 5th, staff. What have we got on our first item, please?
Variance number 2025-10B is an appeal of staff's interpretation of section 1590709 product signs. All American Signs LLC has submitted an appeal of staff's interpretation of section 1590709 of the town sign ordinance regarding the use of product signs. That went on. The applicant submitted a sign permit application on behalf of Palmetto Cards and Collectibles to install a wall sign displaying the playing card brand name Topps as a product sign. Palmetto Cards and Collectibles has already received approvals for a commercial center wall sign and a tenant panel in the commercial center monument sign. These two sign types constitute the full sign allotment permitted for tenants within a commercial center under the town sign ordinance. Staff's interpretation of section 1590709 that section allows product signs as a business sign provided they do not exceed 16 square feet. A product sign is defined as a sign directing attention to products sold, offered, or dispensed on the premise. Staff denied the submittal because the proposed Topps wall sign advertises a brand rather than the type of product being sold. Under long-standing interpretation, a product sign must identify the product itself, for example, sports cards or playing cards, not the manufacturer or supplier. Displaying a supplier's name as a wall sign is inconsistent with the purpose of product signs and can also be construed as an off-premise sign, as the supplier is not located on site, which would conflict with the section 1590801 prohibiting off-premise advertising.
In your statement that the two signs in the second paragraph, two signs constitute a full sign allotment permitted for tenants within a commercial center under the town sign ordinance. Am I to interpret, or are we to interpret that top sign not counted, that sign that's currently that was presented in the package, and the monument is the total square footage allotment for that business?
Correct. So the sign ordinance allows a tenant within a commercial center to have one wall sign that does not exceed 15% of the first story of the wall area that it is attached to for that tenant space. So they do have a wall sign that is in compliance with that size allotment, and then also the sign ordinance also allows them to have a tenant panel inside the existing commercial center monument sign.
Okay, so
which they obtained a permit for. And
so just to be clear, the current wall sign, or the one that's shown, is to its maximum. Factoring that 15%, the business name sign is using that total square footage of that 15%.
I'm not 100%. I would have to pull the file to see if it's maxing out that allotment, but it is within. It's within that requirement. It does not exceed. It meets the ordinance.
Okay. Any other questions for staff at this point, gentlemen?
No.
Okay, we'd like to hear from the applicant. If you would step up and state your name for the record, please.
Yeah, gentlemen, thank you for meeting with me. My name is...
Right up here. You get to stand at the fancy little podium thing.
Fancy little podium. Got it. All right, gentlemen, thank you for meeting with me. My name is Aaron Cordero, and I own Palmetto Cards and Collectibles. We've been in business, I guess, going on our 4th year. We were originally on Main Street here in Lexington, and in July, we purchased 607 Columbia Avenue, and we moved our business in October from Main Street over to Columbia Avenue. And in the process of doing that, you learn a lot of things about town ordinances and just doing business. They don't give you a small business owner for dummies book, I guess is what I would say to you. And in doing this, we bought the building, moved our business over there, and the building construction has 2 tenants. You have Caldwell Banker and you have Palmetto Cards. But the building layout is actually for 3 tenants. The section that we are in would be for 2 tenants. There are 2 entrances. The building was constructed with 2 sign spots on the outside of the building. So I wanted to lay that out there. I've also got some notes. If I can give each of you a copy of this for you to look at, I'd be happy to hand them to them, or am I?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep, and we'll just need 1 copy for the record. Do you have
And we can
that?
share if you don't have enough.
Yeah. Well, I brought 4, so I can give them 3. And
Okay,
I'll get 1 back.
They can give me 1 afterwards. We just have to have it for the record.
Thank you.
This is just a little reference. Yep.
Thank you.
I'm not sure what all information we have. But basically, what I've given you there, just some notes on the building. Again, it talks about the building having 3 tenants. Like I was saying, there's only 2 tenants in the building, us and Caldwell Banker. And the second sign holder is empty. We wanted to put a top sign up there, and we've had conversations about interpretation of product versus brand. I view Tops as a product, and I can see why some would say it's a brand. Coca-Cola is a product. I brought some examples to show you guys. Here I have products that we sell that are Tops branded. So we can debate all day whether this is a brand or a product. I believe when you can physically buy it, it's a product. That's my interpretation of it. The consumers come in and they see this product and they reference it as Tops Series 1 basketball, okay? So we can have that debate of whether it's brand or product. I feel like I'm selling Tops products. I provided you a copy of an email. Tops, I should say, Fanatics, who owns Tops, is the parent company. They have approved our right to use that because we're one of their bigger dealers in the Southeast. So for me, I feel like it's a product. If you guys deem that it is a brand and not a product, then I would ask you, for us to look at an exception to then do something different, because from my standpoint, I would have to have some extraordinary measures. I'd have to have the building redesigned, configured to have 1 sign centrally located. If I have if you look at the picture right there, you'll see the 2 frame parts that are on there. That will allow us to put 2 signs up there and utilize it the way it was intended to be used. I think it will look better for the town. When you drive by there, it will present better. It does not, I think you mentioned 4 things earlier. I believe we answer those 4 questions based off of the things that you said, because we don't impact anyone else. To me, it would be unreasonable to have to go hire a commercial person just to have a sign put up, or jump through some hoops like leasing out a space in the building to myself under some type of Tops branded name to use it. So I would ask you guys to take all that into consideration.
Questions for the applicant?
No. I'll have it here in a second.
Jessica, just for clarification, my understanding, are we typically, we're discussing a variance. Are we discussing a variance tonight, or are we discussing whether or not we agree with what the town staff has already decided? Or is it a hybrid?
It's all, it's almost a hybrid, I would say. I had this discussion with the applicant before we went forward with the application of whether we were appealing my definition, or interpretation of the definition of a product sign. And also, whether he was asking for, an additional wall sign, which is why I stated in there that it could be construed as an off-premise sign. It's a complex issue. So the request that I was told was that it was an appeal of the interpretation of the ordinance.
Okay.
But I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think he is asking that if you agree with my interpretation of the ordinance, he is asking for a variance
That's correct.
to
The way it was-
allow
That was kind of the way it was put to
an
me was,
additional wall sign.
Okay.
I believe that's the ask tonight.
Okay. Sir, did you want to speak, or?
I'd like to, sir, sorry, Rich Oscar, All American Sign. I'm the applicant, and I was just.
You need to step up here, and if you're going to speak, and identify yourself, please.
Sorry, yeah. Okay, sorry. Rich Oscar, All American Sign. Yeah, so just to answer some questions, just to get some answers to the questions. So square footage wise, the sign that's up there now is around 23 square foot, okay? The linear footage on this building is 46 square. The additional sign that we're asking for is 10 square. So a total of 37.33 square, which is under the 15%.
Okay, where do you,
Both signs.
could you come up here,
Yes,
please?
absolutely.
Yeah.
On the drawing that you provided me, the maximum square footage that you're talking about, that's what I thought.
Okay.
That's not how you factor it.
No. It's,
Okay.
it's one story, but I just, I
Okay,
just put
but it's incorrect.
46.
Yeah,
I measured.
because, no, but if we had a topographical, no, if we had, what's the view at one? An aerial view?
Yeah, it's-
This is not, this is not one, these are raised panels. So that is a panel, so the square footage is based on that.
Yeah,
width,
so I was
so
under the impression that the
elevation,
square
that was-
footage is based on
It's-
the building frontage.
It's not the frontage, it's the wall area, but that is not a separate wall area. If you actually go out there, it is not.
all the way
it is
across?
all- Yes, it
Okay,
is flat.
I stand corrected.
Okay.
It
That's all right.
does have architectural roof changes, but it is not a separate wall
Okay, thank you.
area.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
But that is a good point. Yes, it
I
is
just-
based off of wall area, and it doesn't,
Visually, it
Visually,
presents
that
as
way.
two separate, and I know we've dealt with that situation
but
before.
it is all flat.
All right, so,
yeah.
anything else, sir?
Yeah, the only other thing is, I do think he had some photos of other businesses in the area that also have brands up on the outside.
Okay, and I will go ahead and address that now. The difference in this board and a lot of others, it's a case-by-case basis. We don't necessarily set precedent. We work within, as I stated at the beginning, we work within the ordinances that are here. Because another business has it, doesn't mean you can have it too, per se. Case in point, I know there's a business in town that has a brand name on it. Based on my knowledge, that's been there, I've been here 29 years in this town, and it's been there for over 20. I don't know if that business has, I wasn't on this board then, I don't know if that business had a variance, if the ordinance were different. We have things in front of us right now, or in front of council, on some vague places that are in other parts of the ordinance that town council's got to address, because we can't clearly rule on someone because of those things. And the reason that was brought is because someone made a complaint that that business has this, and that's what brought it to the forefront. I appreciate your perspective, but we don't what other businesses do not, that doesn't impact us. So, anything else? We're going to discuss?
Yeah, ready to discuss.
All right, we're going to have a discussion. You're here, part of it. We don't leave, so you're welcome to sit down or stand or whatever you choose to do.
And while they discuss, can we get y'all to sign in, just for record?
All right, so first off, we need to make a decision on
They may.
where we kind of stand with the town and their interpretation of it.
Yeah, is Tops a brand or is it a product? That's kind of what we.
Yeah,
Yep.
you just fill out that information.
Yep, it's
Well,
top.
I think the
The
first
clerk
thing
needs
then
that for her
is we've got to vote on whether we agree with the ordinance. Then we go to the variance, right?
Yes, well, when you say the ordinance, my understanding and what I just got from Jessica is we have to first decide, case in point, let's say we disagree with what staff has said.
Right.
Then we're going to talk about variance,
Right, an additional sign at that
an
point.
additional sign or a change of signs or whatever, however that works. But the first discussion we have to have is whether or not we support the town's interpretation of product versus
Exactly.
brand.
Brand, yeah.
And I say we do.
Yeah, so what are y'all's thoughts?
I mean, Tops is a brand.
Yeah, I appreciate, what Mr. Aaron has said that
Yeah.
his
People come in
interpretation
referring
of
to
it.
it as the product, but it's the brand of the product. It's
Yeah,
Tops basketball cards, Tops baseball cards. So it's a brand of trading card.
yeah. And as far as a possibility, I mean, Brian, you feel,
Oh, yeah, yeah. I feel the same way. It's definitely a brand of the whatever card that is.
because I haven't collected baseball cards since the late 80s and 90s, but I know that there are different, and now it's a huge business. I understand that as well. Your thoughts? Brand versus
I
product?
think it's a brand.
Okay, so from that standpoint, I think we're in agreement that, well, I can't say that.
No,
I guess we
we have
have
to vote
to
on that.
make a motion and have a vote. Because the only other way that I see this working out is if he incorporates that into the single sign.
Right. But he's already said he don't want to do that because he'd have to reconfigure
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff.
And it is an unfortunate situation that they're separate entities.
Right.
If you will look at the two things without having to reconfigure the front. So do I have a motion, gentlemen?
Yeah, I make a motion to uphold staff's interpretation of Tops as a brand and not meeting the definition of a product sign.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Ron Fisher,
Yes to the motion.
Troy White,
Yes to the motion?
Justin Brown,
Yes to the motion.
Brian Matt.
Yes to the
Yes to
motion.
So initially, we have agreed with staff that Tops is a brand, not a product.
Sure.
I appreciate that part of it. Now, I guess the second part of this is now to talk about if there's a variance, correct?
Yes, since he is asking for that.
Okay. So we will now discuss that part. And the tough part that I see, Aaron, here is the square footage. Well, did you see this? This one? So do you agree with their calculations of what the sign can be?
Because what is used 10 feet for the max height, right?
Yeah.
And so
It's-
I did the math.
It's
Yeah.
well within,
It's well within.
it's well within, we
Yeah,
certainly didn't try to max them out or anything.
Yeah.
yeah.
We wanted them to look right from the curb.
Yeah. Yeah, 69 square feet would be what they'd be allowed.
Yeah.
And I believe you said there were 4 criteria that you mentioned. when you
Yes, sir.
Started that. So I mean, I'm
Yes,
happy to talk through those 4 because, again, to me, I feel like
Well,
the extraordinary
on that
measures.
case, your first one, you talk about, the first one is extraordinary and exceptional conditions on a particular piece of property. This is not extraordinary or exceptional. This is something we see quite often. I mean, from the standpoint that it is, I understand that it is set up as a 3 tenant structure, and you've chosen to rent 2 of the 3 structures. That doesn't change the topography of the sign or the front of the building, and I understand there's a cost associated with that. But short of splitting it between and having it across 2 sections of it, I personally don't believe that it's extraordinary. And as far as you mentioned owner's rights, I don't have a place that we don't discuss whose rights it is, this or that. We just look at the ordinance. And so from the ordinance standpoint, I don't know how, and it's not necessarily us to figure out how to make this work. We can make suggestions of things that we would approve, but I don't really know how to address.
I mean, again, it's my opinion, but I feel that it would be extraordinary to have to hire contractors and do some of those things just to make it look aesthetically appealing for the town and anyone that's driving by versus the addition of adding a second sign. Because I would have to hire contractors, I'd have to close things down. I mean, I even talked to Jessica about, I actually have a room inside the building that I could technically start another LLC and call it Buying Tops Baseball Cards and lease it back to myself and put a sign up and work within, it feels like a lot of hoops to jump through to try to make that happen. So to me, that is extraordinary measures to check that box.
I see what you're saying, but again, I think this is beyond, I don't think you meet the criteria based on what we define as
So can you
extraordinary.
tell me the criteria again? I'd like to hear it one more time.
Extraordinary and exceptional has to do more with the standpoint of the fact that it's something that's not seen, that's caused a situation where there's no way to do it other than that. And the reality of what I see here is I see your business is named on a monument on the front of the road, and you have a sign that is appropriate to the size of the front of the open structure. But it's one facility.
Today it is, and it's one large facility, and in 10 years it may not be. In 10 years I may sell that building, or I may lease that space, or I may deem that I don't need the second side, or my business may change, We could have something and then I have to lease out the other half of it. If I do, I'm gonna need that other sign that's up there. So to me, it would be extraordinary to have to change it and then change it back.
Again,
To be clear, if the building is ever altered to add a separated tenant space, like if it turns into A, B, C, and they are separate tenant spaces, then the commercial center wall sign would allow for that tenant space to have a wall sign. The issue here is that they're allowed one wall sign per tenant space. And so they have it's been altered to where B and C is one tenant space.
Right.
Right? So it's only 2 tenant spaces in there. So if the building is ever altered to create an additional tenant space, then they would have wall signage allotment for that tenant space.
Right.
One wall sign for that tenant space.
Yeah. And a space on the monument sign.
Yes.
Right.
So the way I'm understanding that is you're saying I could change it, center the sign, have a bigger sign, one bigger sign. Then down the road, I would have to split them back up, essentially, if that's what had to happen.
Yeah, if you ever separated
If
into
you
2
ever
tenant
separate
spaces.
it.
Yeah.
Yes. And we've had building owners do that in the past that own shopping centers, because we have seen that as time has changed, that a lot of businesses that have office spaces don't need as much office space as they've had previously, and so they've been shopping tenant spaces, so we have encountered that a lot more. But it's based, so for instance, because you are in 2 tenant spaces, you have a larger wall area to work with. So you're allowed technically a larger sign because of that, but you're only allowed one of them. because the allotment is one sign based off of the wall area for your tenant space.
Yeah.
And if it's flush,
Yeah, it's 69 square feet would be what there'd be allowed.
Correct.
Right.
because are both of them entrances? You can come, you have both doors unlocked?
No, but today I'm funneling everyone through the right-hand side, and like I said, there is literally an office behind the other one, so we've got it. You can't go in that door.
Gotcha.
And that's where I was going with, when we were talking about creative ways to do it. It's a office area, like it seems extraordinary to go create another business and lease it back just to be able to put a sign up there.
I mean, but it could be, I mean, I'm asking you the question. If it's separate spaces, it's got to physically be
The
divided?
business, yes, and the business has to be located there.
Okay. I mean, gentlemen, feel free.
Can I ask you a question? Just-
If you come to the mic, please.
Sorry. So I got to swing back around. So the last thing we're talking about, we're still under the extraordinary circumstances? Is this where we're?
Yep.
Okay. There's got to be a lot of extraordinary stuff going on, okay? Because, you know, like I said, I know, and I understand what you just said about, well, it doesn't really matter what other businesses do. It's case by case by case. But there's got to be a lot of extraordinary going on. I took a drive down today. I took pictures. I can name off 25, 30 businesses. All of them have two signs. Rush's does, McDonald's does.
Those
the
are
coffee shop does.
those are freestanding
Every-
businesses that have a different allotment because they are a freestanding business.
Right.
Yes, and that's based off of road frontage, so those businesses are allowed 2 signs per road frontage, so it's a different allotment.
Now his building, he's at the end, now he's at the end unit, okay? So there is one side of his building does face the main street that he's on, and the other now, there might be a distance parking lot between him and, you know, the other road, but you can see his building from the side road.
But it's not a road, that's not 2 thoroughfares. We had the same question come up with other businesses where a driveway is not a road.
Yeah.
The ordinance is very clear
It
on the
has
2 sides of the
to front
building.
on a road.
It has to be on a road, not a driveway.
I did ask.
Yep, that's fine. We're here, I mean, so much of this is understanding, and I appreciate the fact that you at least asked the question, because I'd rather you ask the question than leave here and say, well, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't see where this meets criteria. I can't
Yeah.
answer these questions.
No. Yeah, because I don't think nothing effectively prohibits or unreasonably restricts the utilization of the property either.
Yep.
And we've got to answer all 4 questions.
And as far as not applying to other areas, Jessica just talked about the fact that there are several businesses that have the same situation.
Then they've altered their business front or whatever they needed to do to get the sign they wanted, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Could you tell me what would be extraordinary? I mean, because I'd like to understand.
So state law is referring to like you have a topography issue or if the property, it applies a lot with different variances for setbacks and buffers and things of that nature when they're asking for relief in that respect, that the property is maybe shaped funny or something like that would qualify.
Because not everything we do is signs. Understand
Right.
that. When we talk
Right,
about
so-
extraordinary, it could be because, I'm trying to think back.
Well, like the gas station they're tearing down and going to rebuild, the corner right in front of Publix. It's an odd shaped piece of property, and because of that, the setbacks were unreasonable because you were left with just a tiny bit of property you could actually
Or
use.
we had
the flag lot. Flag lot.
Yep.
lot. There was a gentleman that asked for
A sign.
Oh, that's right.
a
On
setback
378.
reduction on the sign
Yeah.
setback because of the flag lot. It didn't allow enough room, but it was outside of a site triangle, and so that was the only way they would be able to have a monument sign. So that because it was shaped a certain way, that was an extraordinary circumstance. And if a variance was not granted, then he would have not been able to have a monument sign on the road or any identification on the road because his property sat back behind, it was a flag lot that went behind another property.
Like a
Also,
15-foot
too,
driveway.
from a sign perspective, too, it was before I was on the board, but I've heard it discussed in here, and I think it was before your time, Jessica, but I think it's one that's kind of well-known, is that area like where Five Guys and the Salsaritas, because of the topography of the lot,
It
and how
drops
the
down.
business, because it drops down
Of the
almost a full
grade.
story, that they were given the ability to put a sign
On the rear of the building.
by another, it wasn't, I wasn't sitting on, none of us were sitting on the board then.
Yeah.
Those were extraordinary circumstances.
Because of the topography and grade of that site.
Okay, so we were also discussing, and another question that came up, so, now, you said that one sign, one wall sign would have to be his name, he's got a wall sign, right? Now, what are you, now you're saying, but you're saying a sign that says playing cards
Yeah.
would work on the wall.
Trading cards, sports cards. Yeah.
So
But not, I want to make clear though, but
Not a
not
brand.
on the second, this is, I want to make sure that we're not confusing the
It
issue.
could be located there because it's part of his tenant space.
Yeah.
But it would have to meet the 16 square foot requirement and it would have to be a product. Trading cards, playing cards, those are products.
Right, so it's, I'm trying to, so I'm the sign guy, I contract, so I construct these signs and make the signs and build the signs, right? So the same materials, the same components, the same lighting, the same faces, the same, everything goes in. So really what it comes down to is the word playing cards in comparison to the word house. Is really-
Yep.
So I can
Brand versus product.
yeah, I
Yeah.
can literally make the exact same sign, and so instead of putting vinyl stickers on it that says tops, I could just put a vinyl sticker that says playing cards. And then the conversation is that's it, right? I mean, from what I
Correct.
understand, right?
I mean,
Yes.
Yes.
it could say, national brands.
But it seems to me, because I see this sign a lot of places,
Right.
people put up Pokemon.
Right.
Pokemon's a brand.
Yes,
Again, it's not in front of us.
Yeah.
If you're referring to someone that came into your previous location, that was put up without a permit and we're currently in a code enforcement situation with that. So,
I travel a lot, so I see
okay,
these
okay.
things all over.
I was going to say,
That's something that
if you're referring to one,
noticed.
there is a code enforcement issue ongoing right now with that particular location.
I just want to get that clarification.
Again, that's why I wanted to have the conversation about product
course.
versus brand, because I look at Coca-Cola and the UI
It's
code.
I worked for Coca-Cola, it's a brand.
It's a
Do you know,
brand.
here, I'll give you a little fact. Do you know you can't make a licensed piece of material that Coca-Cola or any part of it's cut off? Like on a shirt, it has to say it completely,
I believe that.
because it's a brand. And they protect that
Part of their
brand.
marketing and
And have you seen the recent commercials by Morgan Law Firm, that there's a audio disclaimer at the bottom, because Disney, the Steamboat Willie
Oh, yeah.
has been released and in the public domain, but they still
Protect the.
they say this has not been endorsed by Disney, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah, that's
blah.
why I asked Fanatics, if like, hey, is this a,
Well, I mean, and I appreciate you asking them, and I understand Fanatics, but under Fanatics, they have different brands that they represent.
Yeah.
and I appreciate the opinion on that, but you buy these, so, I mean, to me, they're products.
So another question, a quick question I had, is there?
But hold on one second.
Oh, sorry.
But by your logic, if that's the case, then there's no need for tops on the outside of the building because it's just a product. But you're putting the name Tops on your building because Tops is a desirable product because of its brand, correct?
She told me it had to be a product that went on the wall,
I know.
and I said
That-
Topps
but-
products.
Okay, but you,
Topps also makes things outside of cards.
Yep.
They make carrying cases, they make all sorts of things that we sell.
it's a brand, in my opinion.
I think it's right down the, they do both. I agree.
We
I
we
agree.
could be here till
I agree.
that tree gets unplugged, but
I think Nike's a brand, but people call them, you know, they want to go get their Nikes. Coca-Cola's a brand.
So my other question was, my last and final question is, see, I'm trying to.
Don't ever say last and final, you might think of something else.
Last and final, I don't want to make it long-winded. I'm just trying to understand, you know, like, for instance, I can understand, you know, dog leash laws. I can understand, you know, simple speed laws. I can understand that. There's a driving purpose. You know, we're talking, you know, public safety. We're talking, you know, and I get you know, all the other laws. What I'm trying to understand is, because in my mind, it comes down to verbiage. Now, you know what I'm saying, up here, you know, you're saying that, okay, I can throw up a sign, I can make a sign for him that says playing cards, right? But it can't say tops, okay? I need just to kind of understand the reasoning. You know,
Understand, again, what I stated at the beginning of the meeting, and I stated a few moments ago, and I may not say it as eloquently. I mean, who knows, maybe Facebook's going to beat me up after this when they watch the video.
Okay.
We have to work with what's put in front of us. I don't totally disagree with you that it could probably be worded better. But again, that's not for us, and that is definitely not a reason for a variance because that's there.
Yes.
Now, the great thing about it is there is town council and there is staff, and the town council is very approachable.
Yes.
To say, you know what, I don't think this ordinance is clear. And that I support, like I stated earlier, we're now, 6 months?
Almost a year.
Almost a year into something on a different sign situation
Yeah.
that we could not, the person that came in front of us, it got tabled and it moved forward from that standpoint. So yes, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you that there's an avenue for that. But again, we are not a board that sets ordinance. We are not a board that puts those in place.
And I'll point out too that town council is aware that our ordinance needs to be reviewed. They just signed a contract with a third-party consultant to do a comprehensive review of our sign ordinance, and that will be kicking off at the beginning of the year to look at it in its entirety. And I will definitely make this a note to
I was gonna say,
review.
Jessica, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
For Aaron, is it possible that this request for variance, the issue right now, can he choose to table this and put his single sign, or?
I would hesitate on tabling or remanding because you've already made a motion and a decision on
Okay.
the interpretation. But there is going to be part of that review process, stakeholder meetings, where we will invite business owners, community members, professionals in the sign industry to come and engage with us as we walk through this and to voice their opinions, whether it be about the definition of a product sign or any other issue within our sign ordinance that they may have seen. We encourage them to come and speak with us so that we can look at that and bring that to, because Planning Commission has to review that ordinance and make a recommendation to town council, and then town council will also review any recommended changes, and they will have the final votes on that. So I recommend them to sign up on our website to get alerts about those meetings. We will also post on social media about that as well, so that we can get that engagement and make sure that they're part of that discussion, so we can hear their point of view and maybe make a positive change that benefits both the business community and the standards that the town wants to uphold as far as signage.
So just because of this situation, for clarification, we upheld your interpretation of it.
Correct.
And I'm sorry, your first name again?
Okay, Brent.
Brent. And what Brent's talking about that other space, if they want to revisit some other verbiage that's not a brand there, that's still,
That's a product.
yeah, that's a product.
Product sign.
They can bring that back to you
They can, yes.
and figure that out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, just to clarify, he did request a variance for an additional sign, so I think we don't have a action
Yeah, that's
on
true.
that. So we need to clean that up and make sure there's an action,
But what,
or he could withdraw. that request.
Because, I mean, I'm confused about that part only because he can have a second sign.
He can have a product sign,
Okay.
but he's asking for a second wall sign to allow him to put tops on his business.
Okay, I misunderstood. I thought that by upholding
Yeah.
what,
Okay, so y'all are upholding my definition?
Yeah, that would- we
Okay,
voted
okay,
on that.
Perfect, yeah. Okay.
so as far as a second sign, he has the rights for a second sign. It just
A
can't be
product sign.
a product.
Yes.
It has to be a product sign, not a
Correct.
brand
No
name.
brand.
Correct.
So
there's-
bags,
Grocery,
yeah.
tire.
Okay.
Donuts, coffee.
I could literally put a picture of Mickey Mantle up there if I wanted to, I guess, as long as it fits within the sign criteria.
It says it describes a product being sold, so I don't think a picture of Mickey
No,
Mantle.
52 tops Mickey Mantle baseball card.
So I don't think that would, I mean, and correct me if your interpretation is wrong, or you feel that I don't think that meets the definition of a product sign.
I sell it.
Yeah, that's definitely a product. If I were to, let's say, he's right, he's got a good point.
Not if it, but see, then we're back, if we're gonna go here, we're gonna play. So if you go there with him, if you're gonna put a photograph of Mickey Mantle up, that's something that staff's gonna, but if it's going to be a Mickey Mantle, a duplication of a Mickey Mantle playing card, of a trading card, then we're kind of going back into that same scenario that it says Tops and it's a brand.
I sell cards. I mean, and I see, when I travel, I see those all over.
Again, and I mean no
I
disrespect,
understand that.
Yeah.
there is a place that the town of Lexington has lines around, and that's all that we have control of. We had people come in here before. I mean, you travel a lot. You've driven down Decker Boulevard, you've driven down Two Notch Road. There are places that don't put the time and the effort is the way that the planning commission, the council, and the town does to try to make this not look like some areas of town where just anything goes.
Yeah.
Jessica, good point. And I'm sorry, is it all right if I address her directly? All right.
It's perfectly okay with me.
So, I mean, if we were, he's got a good point. If we were to put, let's say, a Mickey Mantle card
My
to the
interpret-
side with the words playing card or trading card, if it has the word trading card with a picture on the side, is that covered or not?
I think that that's a discussion outside of the request of this board. They've made their determination. I believe they agree with my interpretation that it would have to say playing cards and meet that description. If you would like to incorporate a picture of a playing card in your logo for your tenant space wall sign, I think that would be appropriate because that's part of your one wall sign, like Palmetto Cards, and then have a playing card with that. I feel like that would be appropriate. As I stated earlier, my interpretation of the ordinance and the definition of a product sign is playing cards, grocery. You are listing the product that you are selling there, not a picture of the product, because that gets tricky as well. So unless they disagree with that interpretation.
Well, we've already said that we did not.
Yeah.
Right, and so outside of that, trying to get creative on how we can display things, I think that's a conversation outside of the board.
And I understand, Aaron, this is not going the way you want it to go. I get that. But I would say to you, from the standpoint of, I've been volunteering for the town in different boards for almost 15 years. I've only been on this board for, I think, 5 or 6. They'll work with you, but we have to work with what we've got. And from that standpoint, to be very candid, I feel like your answer on the Mickey Mantle card that was presented is kind of like a snubbing of the nose, like, okay, fine, if we can't do this, we're going to do something else. And I don't think that's what you, I don't
mean for that to come off that way if it did.
Okay, because I kind of feel like it's borderline like, well, fine, we'll find something.
Well, no, I mean, again, it goes back to the conversation I had about like creating an LLC and being told that's okay. That just feels like a loophole or jumping through some hoops.
And you're not totally wrong about it, but again, look at it from the structure of the fact that this particular thing is 3 spaces. You chose to make it 2 by taking the wall out
I
and
didn't take
using.
the wall out. On our
Well, you chose to rent it and not tell, I mean, because the other option of that is to tell the owner, because you're not the owner.
I own the building.
You own the building.
Yes, sir.
So you chose to use that as one tenant space. I mean, that's beyond any of us. That was a choice that you made as a business.
Yeah, no, I mean, we, it's one space, and we're trying to utilize the 2 signs because we're trying to make it look right without jumping through a bunch of hoops to center it, because if you look at the pictures there, it'll, cosmetically, we'll have to do something different to center a sign or make it bigger and other things. So to me, that just seemed extraordinary.
Again, definitions and perspective.
Sure.
All right, anything else?
Nothing for me.
I'm sorry that it didn't go your way. I hope that you can work this out and figure out how to best use that other space.
Sure.
Thank you,
We
gentlemen.
need to make a
Yep.
motion.
No, we don't, because we've already accepted that. There's not a second sign.
No.
Jessica, anything, oh, wait, approval of the minutes from last meeting we had, what, in
September the 4th.
September? Can I have a motion for approval of minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Do any business that we need to be aware of upcoming?
We do not have any applications or an agenda for January, so we are good. I will reach out if we have anything else.
Okay. Then I'm going to do my little speech like I always do. Thank you. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, thank you very much. We appreciate you tuning in tonight. Tonight was another good example of the fact that we are a town and we're working through things, but the way you do it is here in person and not through posts on social media. So if you want to be involved in town, please come down, meet the staff, meet council, meet us, and get involved. And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
There he goes. Let the
There
new
you go.
guys. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.